Well, I'm not a banker. I own the bank. Yeah. Many people say American dream. For me is, I cannot say Austria, but Vienna dream. I enjoy what I do, so that's why 5 days is enough for me to recharge myself.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, dear listeners and visitors of our podcast, Banking on Success. So on behalf of Raiffeisen Bank International, I'm happy to welcome you to the 9th edition of our podcast. I'm here sitting with my colleague,
Elica Kavrakova, Head of Institutional Clients. Warm welcome from my side as well.
Thank you very much. And Daniel Rath, I'm running the corporate business here in RBI. Today, we are happy to bring, finally, I would even say, also an interesting guest out of the region towards you. A warm welcome, Samir Mane.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Welcome, Mirsevini.
Thank you.
Great that you made it to us today. We are very excited on your story. Just for the audience, 3-4 sentences to present. You are the founder and owner of BALFIN Group. You are acting in 11 countries, 2 continents. And I need to read out that there are a load of activities you have. So not only you are a banker, quite interested how you see that as well. You're working in real estate, wholesale, retail.
Well, I'm not a banker. I own the bank. Yeah.
Well, that would be an interesting conversation we will definitely have. What owning and what being a banker difference might be.
Indeed.
You're also doing asset management, tourism, logistics, education, energy, and entertainment. We also saw 2024. Quite successful. You reported a 30% increase in net profit. So we are looking forward to get to know your success story and how you made that happen. Probably to start with, I think there are a lot of colleagues out of the region who know you. Nevertheless, there might be the one or the other who doesn't know you. Can you give us a brief introduction? 32 years of developing that fascinating group. How did it start and how came it up to what you are today?
Well, in fact, I started in this city, Vienna, 32 years before. But before that, I wanted to say that I came in this country as an immigrant. Then I went to the university for only 6 months, order teacher here in Vienna University. And then I stopped going to the university and start my own business. So I started my own business in 1993, selling consumer electronic, buying consumer electronic in Vienna and selling consumer electronic in Albania. So Vienna was a very important city at that time, and I can say that without Vienna it was not possible for me to be where I am now. Why? For example, if I emigrated in Rome or in Barcelona or in Paris or in Munich, was not possible. Vienna at the time was central for selling consumer electronic to Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe was just opening at the time, so I started selling consumer electronic, radio recorder, video recorder, television at the time from Vienna on a very small quantity to Albania, which was completely empty with this kind of technology. So started by buying 20, buying 30, buying 40 pieces, and then increasing more. And I remember still at the time was a place called Mexico Platz, which is the second district at the time. I went there. And there were many shops of selling consumer electronics. I don't know if it's still there or not after 32 years, but I went there, bought from the shop some radio recorder and sell it to my country. And so I started. After that, 1993, I created my company called Albatrade in Vienna. And 33 years from now, I still own the company. We still do the same business, consumer electronics, but now for sure not only in Albania, but in many parts of the world. So from a small business selling radio recorder from the track in Albania, now for sure is completely different. I have more than 5,500 employees, about 1 billion euro revenues, and working in 11 countries, as you say. So it's a long journey, but slowly I went up from as I told you, from a small businessman buying radio recorder in Mexico Platz, now selling a lot of other products around the world.
It's really an amazing journey, and usually, we hear such stories rather from kind of people who went to go to US, fulfilling the American dream. So you're, for me, one of the very few, if not the only one, where I heard making such a tremendous career out of Vienna. Now I would like to switch gears and bring you a bit even further back in time. You were born in Korča. So can you share with us how did you grow up? And why I'm asking this is and then also from your initial time in Vienna, what sparked this out of these two periods, your childhood, youth in your home country and home city, and then in beginning of Vienna? What was sparking the entrepreneurial spirit? Or can you say you have this in the genes, this entrepreneur? So what was the triggering out of the youth and the childhood? And
I'm coming back directly to your question, survivalistics. So that is something that really helped me to become who I am. I come from a communist country, but not a normal communist country like we saw it in Eastern Europe, like Czech, like Slovakia. Albania was a North Korean of Eastern Europe, so very isolated and very strong communist regime. So I born in Korča, I studied in Korča, and then I went for 4 years in university in Tirana. I studied geology. I never choose geology. This one is given from the Communist Party that I should study geology. So at that time, I was not free to choose what do you want to study. But the Communist Party say you study this. So I studied something that I don't wanted to study, but okay. And then as soon as the communism came into the end, I left the country, and I came in Vienna. And from 1993, I told you the story how I started. But yes, it was a very bad time living in the communism. And for sure, looking for the freedom, looking for the economic freedom. That's why I left the country, to have a better life. But in fact, when I see now back, I see that I realized much more than my dream. Okay, so the dream was to go to Western country, to work there, to have a nice job, maybe as an engineer, and to continue my life there. And my dream at the time, I remember when I came in this country, like 1993, 1994, I wanted to have 1 million shilling at that time. So what's this? There's something now. I know that is.
You seem to have made much more because you. I read somewhere that you had the $100 in your pocket.
When I came, yes. When I came, I had only $100. It was not possible for my family to help more. But yes, I find so. Many people say American dream. For me is, I cannot say Austria, but Vienna dream. So I got here all my business and all my family and everything. Yes.
That's interesting because me now living 22 years in Vienna, I haven't thought about that. Vienna is such a place where you can do that. So how come Vienna? Is it also from an outsider, kind of an immigrant, as you said, Vienna is the place to go because there's more prosperity, more to develop?
I was in Vienna at the right age, at the right appetite, on the right time, on the right place. As I told you, this small place on the second district called Mexico Platz opened for me the vision of all my business. So this next shop selling consumer electronics next to each other, I saw the opportunity there, and I begin there. So that is something. For example, if I was 30 years old, maybe I was an engineer already. So it's not something that I should start my own business. Or if I arrive in this country 18, then it's still not possible. So the age when I arrived, 22 years old, was exactly the age that I wanted to do something else, and I saw the opportunity and I started.
Is Mexico Platz still the place where you can buy a lot of things?
Mexico Platz? Yeah. I don't know, to be very honest. This is one of the places, maybe to the audience, this is one of the places where apparently many people just pass by, but it's not necessarily the place to be. But seems like in your case, it was the place
every
to
day
be.
there, every day from the morning till night, and I see all these opportunities because only consumer electronics. As I told you, Vienna was not famous at the time to selling other product like food product, whatever, but was especially for consumer electronic.
Interesting. But what, apart now from you being in the right age, at the right time, at the right place, what else supported you to come from Alba Trade to the conglomerate you have now? So what else supported you in that transformation?
Well, I can say that I started with the consumer electronic. Albania was very angry at the time for consumer electronics. So people, because in the communist time, the people didn't have any television, so we provide them television sets. Yeah, so, but then the Albanian market was small, so then I started to do consumer electronic in other part of the world because we had a possibility to so we have administration capacity, financial capacity to do some more business. And then I started with Macedonia, then I started to Kosovo, then I started Serbia, then I started other countries. So basically, I grow because the market was very small. And that is in one of the industry called consumer electronic retail. After that, we make money. We wanted to do something else. So I start a supermarket chain. In fact, I start before a shopping mall. So I wanted to create a shopping mall because there was no shopping mall in Albania. And when I started to create the shopping mall, and then all the people that I spoke, say everybody was pessimistic about that. So I make the business plan with one of the big four. They say, "Sorry, Mr. Mane, it's not possible that you have a good a shopping mall in Albania. Why the people should travel 6 kilometers or 30 minutes to buy tomatoes on your shop, or to buy fashion on your shop?" And everybody was negative about my business plan and my idea, including my father. Say, why I should go and buy something 6 kilometers from the city? I have down a shop. At that time, the biggest shop, the biggest supermarket chain was not supermarket chain, was 300 square meters. So anyway, I decided to do the mall, and against almost everybody. So I opened the first shopping mall in the country, 2004, was QTU. And most probably there was the best shopping mall in Europe in terms of ROI because the shopping mall paid himself in 3.5 years. So it's the people wait, almost 100,000 people wait to enter the shopping mall that I opened 2005. And the streets was blocked, highways was blocked, everything was blocked because they wanted to see something new. But the most important, interesting story is that I make a shopping mall, but I didn't have a supermarket chain or a supermarket. And I went to travel in Europe with my bag, going from Röve to Bila, from other, say, okay, please come and do something in Albania, And I met at the time the CEO of Bila and said, based on the statistic, Mr. Mane, what you have presented to us, you cannot make more than 2,000 euro per square meters in Albania. So we are not interested, but nobody can be interested to come in Albania to make a supermarket.
So you proved the opposite.
I proved the opposite, and the first 3 years we make a turnover 8,000 euro per square meter, which is the same level as Austria and Germany at that time. Yes.
Bila is still not in Albania,
not
right?
Yet, it's not in Albania.
And now will not come as well, I guess.
Now we are completely different. But that is the story how we created also the first supermarket chain. So I wanted to create. I created a shopping mall. Because I don't have a supermarket, I create also the first supermarket, then create a supermarket chain. So it's a story that came one by one, actually. And that is the to your question, why I started growing is because we saw opportunities, yes.
Is it that easy that you say, whenever I need something and nobody provides me, I do it on my own?
Well, not every time, but at this moment it was like this, No fashion store. I went and I got a lot of franchise from fashion store, like Mango and many others, There no supermarket. Then I went and I did the supermarket. So for sure I didn't have any experience of the supermarket. I got somebody from Carrefour, manager from Carrefour. Mm-hmm. I went to Paris. I told him, okay, do you want to come to work for me in Albania? For sure, the time everybody says, okay, Albania, it's okay, a little bit complicated. And then I change the things when I want to hire foreigners. So I tell them, I buy a business class ticket, come and see me in Albania and have an interview with me. And this one changed completely because 90% of the people that I'm inviting to come and see me in Albania for a job or for a position, they stay. So it's completely different perception on what they see from Germany and what they see in reality in Albania.
That brings me to the question I was curious about the managers already. You said before you have around 5,000 employees.
Correct.
Already. I have the pleasure to meet the one or the other senior manager of your group. Very fascinating people. How do you said bring people to the country, but also develop people leadership in your group? You need a lot of managers. You have a lot of businesses. What's your credo or your idea here?
Well, here we, for sure, one of the regret that I have in my early stage of the business is that we didn't spend so much time on training the people. Now it's completely different. So we're having close to 50,000, 60,000 hours per year training for our people around all the countries that we work. And for sure, we are trying to find the best people to lead the company and to based on two principles that I have. One is professionality, and the second is integrity. So if I can combine both, they're perfect business for us. Because only integrity is not enough. Only professional is not enough. If they combine the two, this is perfect for our region of the business. So yes, we are giving a lot of value to the people. We are giving a lot of motivation to our people. We are giving a lot of training to our people. And for sure, well paid in each and every sector that we work. A personal story of that is that how I evaluate the people and how personally do this is that 20 years before, when I started my supermarket, I got an advisor, in fact, from a bank who lend us money, the international bank, EBRD, tell me that, Mr. Mane, you don't have experience on supermarket, how we are going to do it. I tell them, okay, I'm getting advice. And they give me a person who advised me how to control, run a supermarket business. And this person, when he came, he was at that time the CEO of, retired CEO of 7-Eleven in Canada. I remember the man very well. And first day that he came, he said, Mika, I'm going to have an interview with your team. I told him, good. If you interview them, do whatever you ask whatever you want because you are professional. But I have only one question that you ask them in my behalf, but not saying that I told you. And he told me, what is the question? I told him, ask them what you can do better if it's your company. And in fact, he asked all of them, 11 people, what is what you can do better if it's your company. Almost 10 of them, they say, I cannot do better because I'm doing the maximum what I can. I feel like my own company. One of them said that if it's my company, I do this and this and this. In fact, this man I fire, to say open. And that is the first step that he told to me that that was the answer. And the other 10 are leading now the BALFIN Group everywhere, from the CEO to the CEO of other groups to CEO of supermarket chain to so many, many things. So basically, all these people, they say this thing that I cannot do more because I'm doing exactly like in my own company, are now leading BALFIN Group. And that was a very important question. So can the people deliver the maximum they can? So that I invented this question. I did this question to them through consulting, actually. So
it's also quite a strong identification with
exactly,
the group.
yes.
Huh? Yeah, that's important.
And it's about being passionate about what you do.
Well, I do everything now with passion, and that's why every day that I go to work, I'm very happy because I do this. I do what I do with passion, and that is something that I like.
Fascinating. Turning a bit into another direction, you took a lot of business risks. This is what I understood from reading about you and listening to you until now. For example, also the first shopping mall. This was taking a huge business risk. Now, did you have situations as well where you failed? And what were the lessons out of that you took with you?
All the first things that, yes, in my first shopping mall, I invest all my money. So that is something that is a characteristic of the entrepreneurs everywhere in the part of the world. So I really invest all my money. And I invest all my money on the business that everybody was negative, so. But anyway, I did it and it went through very well. So yes, I have in my life also something that I felt, and then I learned a lot about that. And one of them, thanks God I didn't have so many, because sometimes can be trouble if you have a lot of losses in business. But yes, I have at least one that we created a mobile operator with a lot of friends in Albania. In fact, there was the fourth mobile operator in a very small country. to compete with Vodafone, with Deutsche Telekom at the time, with many others. So there was an emotional decision. So they are making money. Why we cannot do money? We went to this business, and in fact, didn't result as we wanted. So we sold the company with losses, and but there was a good things to learn that you need to have business plans. Not every case without a business plan, like a mold that I created, was positive. So this one was a business plan that we didn't make it in proper way, and we didn't wait in the right time in the market.
I see.
They call it plus operation at the time. Yes, plus operator.
Okay.
The two of us have business-wise a lot of common. So Raiffeisen is working in Southeastern Europe. You are active and not only grown up, but also active in the region strongly. What's the competitive advantage? I mean, we see it as a super interesting growth area still to come, but also a lot of challenges ahead. How do you see the region in that respect, and how do you want to develop your business in that area?
We are present in the business in all these countries that you are present as well. We are retailers, so we are entering with our retail activity everywhere. We are in Bosnia, we are in Montenegro, we are in Kosovo, Albania, North Macedonia. Now we're entering Serbia as well. So basically, we see the region as very much potential, and we are active there. For sure, still a small market, so like 20 million people, and positive is that there's a lot of potential there. The people want to have the new product. They want to have the new technologies. They want to have the new generation want to have all the product and service that we provide. I can say the negative things is because very pragmatic. So all the countries, it's small countries in this territory. Infrastructure is not there on the perfect way, and yes, people are living very near to Europe, so a lot of people leaving their countries and going to Europe for a better life still, unfortunately. So that is something that is, I can say, negative. Positive is that they can have they have all Europe as a market to provide their services. So if they provide software engineering, technology, exports, they can produce still relatively cheap in this part of the world and export it to Europe. In this perspective, I see as a positive working in these countries actually.
To add on your group, we saw, I said initially 30% of growth 2024. I must admit, not many of my corporate customers had such a good development in 24 because economic developments are super challenging. What is the most resilient part of your group, and where did you see the best performance?
Well, we see the best performance now on the real estate. So it's something that it's growing very fast. I still believe, and I'm still convinced that a lot of things is going to change in the world. So shopping malls, they may suffer from online sales. Banking, from online banking, from fintech, whatever. But the way how the people are going to sleep is not going to change, at least for the next 100 years. So that's why we provide a lot of real estate. We provide a lot of real estate development. And by AI coming very soon, I'm sure that tourism is going to grow as well. So the people can work less, maybe, but can have more tourism. So that's why we are focusing on tourism as well. These two industries are really something that is bringing us up all the figures that we have in our balance sheets.
And especially perfect on the Albanian coast.
I was about to. Well, there was one more question here in between, like working class, Albanian coast, and Albania is beautiful. I also need to say, the people would need money though, to make the holiday. Yes,
that is well, but that's why it's very much diversified. We have 5-star hotels, we have 3-star hotels, we have 4-star hotels. So basically, we can cover all the need of the people in all the ranges that they.
Very much true. So, but speaking of money, the BALFIN Group possesses as well, has a financial arm, which is Tirana Bank. Yeah. From what I see, very successful financial institutions. How does it fit Tirana Bank into the overall BALFIN strategy? And Do you see further expansion path for the bank, be it geographically or sector-wise?
We bought Tirana Bank as an investment opportunity. At the
If
time
I'm not
was
mistaken, from Piraeus.
from Piraeus Bank in Greece. Yes, all the Greek bank went outside of the different countries, and we saw this one as an investment opportunity. The bank is running very well, by the way. If we think to go to abroad, most probably we see only two countries, which is Kosovo and North Macedonia. We don't have any other appetite to go to other countries, so we stay on the countries that we may have some unique value, and in both countries we have some unique value. That's why we see only these two countries as opportunity. Otherwise, on the bank expansion, it's only we stay in Albania and it is two countries if we see any opportunity.
Even if they're so overbanked, both of the markets you've mentioned?
Albania was also overbanked, but based on the information that I have, Tirana Bank is one of the fastest growing bank in the country. So,
Indeed, congratulations for this
thank
development.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Another topic that I was quite surprised when looking at your group is you are putting a strong focus on green transition.
Yes.
So now we talk a lot about entrepreneur profitability. What is the profitability in ESG and in green?
Well, every time we see green and profitability, and as you say, we should never forget about profitability, because if we are not profitable, we cannot produce green as well. So that is something that we should have it in mind. And I'm saying this one as an entrepreneur. But yes, we are taking our steps one by one and very serious on that matter. For example, all our shopping malls and logistic parks everywhere, they produce all the energy by almost 100% by themselves now with the solar panel that we have created. So that is one of the steps that we do. By 2026, all our company cars is going to be electric, and we have a lot of steps on terms of West and in terms of other investment that we have on green energy. We are supporting now a lot of, through the bank and ourselves as well, a lot of energy project on solar, wind. So we are doing our steps almost every day, but for sure keeping in mind the profitability. They cannot be from in one day, because otherwise they may turn that you produce green energy, but you lose money. So that is not something that we foresee, but we are very active on that matter and taking this one very. And in fact, we have a division on the company now for the first time from 2025, taking care that on the headquarters, taking care that we should see all the group companies how to perform in this way on green energy on this one. So even on small things that we can do.
Is this something which is kind of driven by investor perception for BALFIN, or even by consumers asking, or kind of you perceiving consumers asking you to be greener and consider the ESG element?
To say consumer are asking, but not as much as we but
therefore I'm raising the question. Where does it come from?
I wanted to be very open with you. For consumer, really in this part of the world, I may say in Germany there may be a tema, okay, even in Austria, but in this part of the world, the consumer are asking, but not as we think. But yes, on terms of lenders, on terms of partners, for sure they are asking, and we are cooperating with them, with the big institution, financial institution like IFC, EBRD, with the bank together to promote SME on who is more on the green energy or on others. So yes, with the financial institution, IFC, EBRD, we are working together how to be more green.
Yeah, you were rightly spotting the sentiment that was bringing it to my question, because it was also my perception that in our region, the kind of ESG elements are still considered more kind of a luxury topic. And it's more coming from the necessity to enter into financial partnerships, and from there, not the pressure, but the topic is brought into the market.
It's going to come for sure with the time. It's going to come with more sensibility of this matter. It's going to come more obliged when we come in the European community, or because all of the countries are now almost very near to be a European community member. But it's not as sensitive as we think. So
you already looked a little bit ahead, European Union, you said, but also your group development up to today. If we sit now in 5 to 10 years here together, where is BALFIN in the region? How big? How important? What's the footprint you will leave on the Balkans probably?
Well, in the region for sure, we are investing very strongly. We are going to be a strong player in the region with many different activity, retail, real estate, banking on the country that I spoke. But for sure, our appetite is to go even more than countries that we work. So basically going in all Western Europe. We have the administration capacity, we have the financial capacity, we have the people who can run the business, and we see opportunity, especially on this times. Economic times of Europe, so we are expanding in all European countries, and yes, I see a BALFIN that 2030 is going to be really more business in Europe than in the territory that we are, including other continents like America and Asia.
Yeah, you already kind of read my thoughts, which I find very good, because you fulfilled your Viennese dream. At the beginning, I kind of teased you a bit on the American dream. So you went to US as well. What was the trigger for that? And what is the secret for success there?
Well,
compared to Europe.
Yes, well, that is another. Well, America, it's a big market with a big opportunity. And we saw this opportunity, especially on the affordable housing. What is the business that we are doing now? Albania, North Macedonia, United States, and entering 2 more other countries on Far East. So, in fact, Middle East. So basically, we want to do this business, affordable housing, as our main business, as our main driver. In US, that is the business that we do mostly. So we buy the land, we build building, we call it Section 8 affordable housing, and we rent it to the people in need with a voucher from the municipality of New York or others. So basically, it's opportunity. But the good things on the US, it's a financial market is very much developed. We didn't see this product in Europe, to say open. Number one, and number two is how fast you can get a permission. So it's with all the respect that we have for all the countries that we work, for sure. A lot of bureaucracy happened, even including my in the Balkan. But in America, you can get a permission in 3 months. So basically, you go ask for the permission for this category of the business, and you get the permission in 3 months, which is a very liberal market, very open market, and very open for everybody, and a very big demand because of all these immigrants, products, whatever they have. So we are seeing this opportunity now. But affordable housing is a theme for all Europe. So we want to do in Berlin as well, affordable housing. We want to do in Athens affordable housing. We want to do everywhere affordable housing, business that we know, and that we have some advantage on that category of the business.
The affordable housing is something which we are also dealing with going forward. It's very interesting to hear your thoughts on that. Now, switching a bit gears and maybe more personal question, because you, as out of your leadership career, what would be the one piece of advice you would give to a young manager or a young leader out of your own experience?
Well, do it with passion. That is something and for sure, work hard, do it with passion, and try to find some unique value in whatever business you start. That is my advice to everybody, to every people that I met, if they start a business. So in all the business that I have so far, every time I'm trying to find some unique value. So why I can be better than the other, why I can be competitor, how I compete better than the other. So that is something that I have it in mind in each and every business I start. So I think that is something that is a good advice for all the new entrepreneurs to find something unique on this open market of competition.
Good advice. You talk a lot, and we heard now in this whole podcast a lot of energy, your power into it, and also your entrepreneurial spirit. Still, you sometimes need to recharge, I guess. Yeah. So how do you recharge your batteries in order to get that power out again for your business?
Well, for sure, I take time. I take time to recharge myself as well. Take time for my family, and take time to to spend with friends and to go on holidays and everything. But I never go holidays more than 5 days, for example. So otherwise, it's I cannot be so. I want to focus on that. So that 5 times I can go many days in a year, 5 days. Yeah?
But 5 in a row.
But
5 days in a row.
5 days in a row. But I don't go more than 5 days. I wanted to. That is something that is not recharging. But okay, I still believe that in 5 days, as I'm doing business faster, I can recharge myself faster as well. So that is.
Which place is your emergency exit? So where do you spend most often the 5 days?
Well. Normally, I stay in south of Albania, but also I travel around the world everywhere where I have a possibility. So, yes, but yes, I enjoy what I do. So that's why 5 days is enough for me to recharge myself.
I was thinking now if that's not a difference between owning a bank and being a banker that we initially said. Huh?
Yeah.
So probably 5 days of going on holiday as a banker is difficult because only regulatory we need to take more. But it's an interesting approach.
Okay, yes.
Different times,
Yes.
5 days is.
That's why I told
Yes.
you I'm not a banker, but I own a bank.
Yeah,
Yes.
which
Means
fair
if
point.
you own a bank, you have 5 days, and if you're a banker, you have more. Holiday,
Yeah, let's elaborate on that probably
Yes.
in one of the next ones, next episodes
Well,
that we
but
have.
many 5 days. Yeah.
That's good.
Yes, it's also.
Well, Samir, many thanks for taking the time. It was very interesting to have a short glimpse into your incredible story of BALFIN Group and the development.
Thank you.
We are looking forward to accompany you and also see you developing in our region the next years. And for sure, we will hear a lot of you, not only your businesses, but also you personally in our region. Thank you very much for taking the time here.
Pleasure.
Faleminderit shumë, ju uroj shumë success.
Thank you.
Shumë shëndet, and dear audience, thank you for being with us today and waiting on you for the 10th episode of Banking on Success.
Raiffeisen Bank International. Make it happen.